So I'm going to be documenting, I'm going to have a series of documenting my dreams for the last 11 years since May of 2010. And so I have WordPress, and I have a Spotify that you can, either listen to it or watch the video. So the dreams I'm going to start, it's going to be December 2010, pet sitting in Woodsy area. I was at a group with a bunch of foreign black women, and there was an earring that I didn't know about that I couldn't get the round earring off my ear. I was at someone's nice house. They were gone, and I took 2 pieces of sticks. One was still on fire, and I tried to find some place to throw them safely. So I threw them down the street. Okay. So I think that a group with a bunch of foreign black, they were people, they were actually women. And I went to a church one time in Florida. I went to several churches, but when I went to this one with my youngest brother, there was predominantly foreign black people. I mean, mainly women. There was a lot of women there. I think it was kind of something going on. It was kind of a special deal or whatever. And then, so whatever, I couldn't get my round, like the backing off of the earring. I couldn't get that off. And sometimes I have dreams and they don't make any sense. But then I was at someone's nice house. I was house sitting, and while they were gone. And then I took 2 pieces of sticks. And then I remember just walking. I checked the mail and I got something in the mail, and they were representative of 2 pieces of sticks. And they were still on fire, and I just remember trying to get the sticks away from me, and I just threw them down the road. And I don't know why I would do that. But anyway, it's just symbolic. This is a dream. So the next dream is Angels and Cherubs, December 2010. My youngest brother and I were at this really nice place, almost like a penthouse. It doesn't look familiar. There was a really nice cooking things, nice stuff. He received an unexpected box with angelic figurines from a friend, someone he hadn't heard from in a long time. I opened my present, a children's dollar store item, so I thought I could give it to my cousin. I was walking around and I saw this huge circular cherub stone thing that I meant to pick up outside. I guess it used to be mine, but this other guy picked it up. I asked my youngest brother if he would bring me to Seattle for $500, and then I would pay him more on the 1st or 3rd. He didn't answer me. Actually, he wasn't talking to me. I talked to him about Bainbridge, which is in Washington, which he visited before. I took a water taxi there. But there is a small boat like that goes to Bremerton and Bainbridge. Actually, there's a ferry that goes there from Seattle. I was walking around town, nothing open but expensive stores and no people. I already saw everything. Then I stumbled upon some hippies with dreads from Seattle, were mean looking. Now I recall an earlier dream where Seattle was not run down and mean hippies. I remember also being at a coffee shop as well. Then there was this angry foreign lady, possibly Asian, that was chasing me, and I didn't know that she was behind me. She was just angry, and I had a smile on my face as I went through spiritual house door after doors until I came to a door with a lock, and then it opened. It was free. So my youngest brother was in the dream. He was at a penthouse, and so he was living there, or temporarily. I think he was house sitting, which he is actually doing right now in real life. But this is December 2010. So I just remember his place. I was there, and it was really nice. I meant the kitchen, the cooking area. There was an island, and it had very nice cookware, just baking. I mean, it was very nice. So he got an unexpected box with angelic figures. So I'm assuming that that's a gift from angelic, whatever. Someone he hadn't heard from in a long time. My gift, on the other hand, I opened my gift and it was some cheap stuff from the dollar store for children. So I thought, well, I'll just give it to my cousin who has children, or like grandchildren or whatever. And then I remember walking around and I saw this huge circular cherub that I meant to pick up outside. And I guess it used to be mine. I was going to go pick it up. But then I remember when I came back, it was gone. So, yeah, so I remember in the dream kind of feeling like, okay, well, my brother, my youngest brother was staying at this real nice penthouse, and I got these cheap dollar store stuff for children. That was my gift. And so I just remember, like in the dream, kind of feeling like, what a raw deal. So then I later asked my brother if he would drive me to Seattle I give him $500 to do it. I'll just pay him when I get paid. And he didn't answer me. Actually, he wasn't talking to me. So then anyway, then whatever, it sounds like I went to Bainbridge and on a small boat, a taxi, but actually, I mean, you can just, I don't know why I would do that. You can just take from Seattle, you can take a ferry to Bremerton and Bainbridge. So I went to Bainbridge, which is more of an uppity area than Bremerton. I was walking around, nothing was open. I remember walking downtown and everything was closed. And then I went into a coffee place, and I remember seeing a hippie there. It was a guy, and I remember that he was mean looking. And then I recall an earlier dream where Seattle was not run down and mean hippies. Yes, I lived in Washington several times, but when I lived in the first time I went to Seattle, it was like after grunge, or just pretty close after grunge. But there was more hippies, and they weren't mean looking, and I loved it there for 6 months. I just loved it. So anyway, so that was a dream, and then there was this angry foreign Asian lady chasing me, and I didn't know she was chasing me, and I don't know why she was chasing me in the dream. I just remember I had a smile on my face I would open one door after door after door, the entire time smiling, and she was angry and she was chasing me. And so I remember that I unlocked the last door, opened it, and exited the building. So, and then it was free. So then I was free too. So the next dream is debt paid. December 2010, I was at someone's party with my youngest brother and a bunch of people. Two lawyers with papers wanting rent for December. I told them that I wrote that check out a long time ago, no date on it, but a palm tree, Florida. Something about wanting rent. Both our names were in a lease, but they didn't come after my youngest brother because he was in a hotel. This black girl was there. She said, don't wear dangling earrings. I was living somewhere on a weekly basis. I had a dream of a mailbox on fire. The lawyer seemed like a nice guy, pleasant. I ended up avoiding or dodging them. I told them that I paid that bill a long time ago. So, yeah, so there was where I was living. Well, this is December. I think it was the following year. I'm not sure. But anyway, this dream never came to pass. I think the lawyer was actually my manager. He turned out to be like my manager in real life. And I think that like the first year I was there in December that he had some kind of emergency come up. So he wasn't there the entire month of December. So this didn't come to pass. But anyway, the guy who's like a nice guy, pleasant, I think that's who that is. Whatever, and there were two lawyers who wanting paper. They said, whatever, I wrote that check a long time ago, no date on it. They wanted rent, which really didn't make sense because I was, in the dream, I was on a legal lease with a different state. But me and my brother, we lived somewhere else prior to this, so maybe there were some issues with that. But whatever, they didn't go after my youngest brother. They came after me because I think he went to a weekly renting in the Dream. I don't know if he did or not. I think he went. He works at like hotels, so he might have been at a hotel monthly. You know. So whatever. So then this black girl was like, don't wear dangling earrings, whatever. So leave something dangling. So I was never like on a weekly basis. Like I said, I thought it would be my brothers. But anyway, so I ended up dodging the lawyers. I mean, they were probably the lawyers went through my manager, who was a pleasant guy. But it's like, well, I paid that bill a long time ago. So it wasn't a rent bill. I don't know what it was. And because I wasn't at least there, so it didn't really make sense. I'm not sure. But this dream never came to pass because at the time my manager, the first year I was there, he had an emergency, I think, come up with a family member, so he wasn't there then at the end of the month. But anyway, so bakery, retail, December 2010. I was working at a job. There was this older lady with long, stringy hair, hippie or bum-like, who assigned me to work under a guy that was from food department. I was buying some rubber stamps, Da Vinci. I'm sure this means code. I had something in my hand and I didn't want to get into trouble, so I brought it back. Then I was at a different job. My coworkers were talking to me, two young girls. One was actually telling me that I was better than I used to be. I told her I have no idea how I come across. Then this other girl didn't like the way I dressed. I told her a manager told me that I had a good sense of style. He was a manager for 10 years, so people were a little nitpicking. I also remember trying on clothes that I usually wouldn't wear. I was slimmer. There was a business case in a room that I guess wasn't mine, so I moved it. Then I had a garbage bag and was emptying the garbage in the fitting room. Okay, so I think in this dream, in the beginning I was working in a bakery, and then I think I switched to working in retail. So for a while I did want to work in bakery, and I have worked in retail, but a long time ago. And but I can't really do retail because of a heart condition. There's things I can do, but it just kind of I can't move fast because it So anyway, so I remember this. Okay, there was this girl who worked at the counter, and she had long reddish stringy hair. She's kind of a hippie like or whatever, new ager. So and this is when. This is like, I was working in the food department, the bakery. And something about Da Vinci code. So I don't know. This has happened before. I had something, this dream has happened before. I had something in my hand. I didn't want it to get in trouble, so I brought it back. So this is strange because I've had this a couple times, like throughout the 10 years. About 3 or 4 dreams, like I've had something in my hand, like I've left the store, but I go back into the store because I don't want to get in trouble. Well, that doesn't make any sense. And it's usually something small. Like I think one time I had a dream, I had something in my hand, and then one time I walk off with a pair of boots, and it's like, I wouldn't do that. I've worked in retail. I wouldn't, I wouldn't do that. So there was something that was in the dream, that there must have been a small amount somewhere that was stolen. But anyway, so then I changed to a retail job in the dream. So this one girl, I guess they were kind of nitpicking with me, and they was like, well, this one girl says, well, you were better than you used to be. And I told her that I don't realize I come across. And this is true. I mean, I especially when I was younger, I was a lot more assertive. And the reason for that, I grew up with brothers, and so they kind of treated me like one of the guys. But then when I would act like a guy, then they didn't like that. Then there would be fighting, or not, arguing. Sometimes arguing, but just kind of picking on or whatever. So I was like kind of a two-fisted broad, and I was also the caretaker. So I didn't really realize how I came across to a lot of people. And sometimes this would get me into trouble because people would get upset with me, and I was like, well, what did I do, So, but it was probably something that I said, but sometimes, I don't know, but then I couldn't figure it out because I was just being assertive. I wasn't being like mean or whatever. But people don't like it some people just don't like it when somebody's assertive sometimes, or like quite a bit. So anyway, so then she was saying, well, one of the girls didn't like the way I dress, and I said I had a manager, and this happened in real life, that he said I had a good sense of style. This was a long time ago, but so they're kind of nitpicking, and then whatever. I think I went into a fitting room, and there was somebody left like their business bag or something in there. So I remember, trying stuff on or whatever, and I think that I just brought the business bag. I brought it to, I don't know, the fitness person or whatever, but I know that I turned it in or something. I don't know why it was there, a business case. Okay, so the next dream is Grab Your Boots, December 2010. I have to go to downtown, grab your boots. I was at my older brother. I don't want anyone to know what I'm doing downtown for December. I wanted to pack all my stuff, but didn't have time. I asked my older brother when he was leaving within an hour. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it sounds like in the dream that I was visiting my brother, and this could have been possible. I don't usually go there for a visit. I don't usually visit in the winter because it's so cold. But anyway, so I remember I was like at my brother's, and I didn't want anybody to know what I was doing. And sometimes I get that way because, sometimes people, and this is just my opinion, if it's something good, then sometimes they'll attack it and then they'll destroy it if you announce what you're doing. But if they're jealous or just to whatever, I don't know. And so, and then I didn't have my plans completed, I think. I just, I didn't want anybody to know what I was up to until after I made a decision, I think. I wanted to pack all my stuff, but I didn't have time. And so my brother was like, okay, well, he's like, well, we're leaving in an hour. I don't know where we're going. So anyway, and so the next one is the trolley, the trip, and water, December 2010. I was on a bus. It looks like a trolley. My thing. With different jacket. I had 2 pieces of paper that looked like I just printed it, typing paper. I was disappointed because I wanted to visit my relatives for Christmas. So, I don't know where my pencil just went. I lose those all the time. Anyway, so, okay, well, if it's a trolley, this is Florida then. But I had a different jacket in the dream. I had 2 different pieces of paper. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was an application, I'm not sure, or something for an apartment. And then I think that I wanted to visit my relatives, but I think these were the relatives in Colorado, but this is Florida in the dream. So I was just like way across the other end, and they were in Colorado. So, yeah, so I was disappointed because I couldn't visit them. Okay, so neighborhood and Miss Bus, December 2010. I told you not to go back there, but you did it anyway. I was waiting for a bus, went in one direction, and then back. I went to neighborhood and asked if I could get permission to come into neighborhood. It was a gang leader, said, we don't want you here. It may have been Jacksonville, Florida. There were 2 kids who were supposed to be somewhere. One was blonde, brown hair with his friend. They missed the first bus, which was supposed to be 10 after the hour. The last was one miss. Go there and didn't know their home address. I said, you don't know your address and you're 10 years old? So I was on phone with cop telling about kids. They stopped by and I had to sign something. My mom was there in backyard and think this is about the foster care in Tacoma. Okay, so in this dream, sometimes I hear things in the dream. And so this is what I heard. I told you not to go back there, but you did it anyway. Okay. And it says this is Florida, but I think that I'm not for sure. It could be California. So then, yeah, because, okay, so I went into one, I was waiting for a bus. I went in one direction in the back. Okay. So I remember that I went up to this one African American guy, and I said, well, can I have permission to go into your neighborhood? And he said no. And he was mean or whatever. And I think that I wanted permission because I was probably going to move in that area. And he's like, no. And he was a gang leader. Now I never grew up with any gang stuff. I have no affiliations. I have no idea anything about that kind of, I meant California. I don't know. But anyway, like I said, this could be Florida too. But he was mean and he said no. So I didn't end up, I didn't go there in the dream. So then there was two kids, and I think one of the kids was a childhood friend, and he was with another friend, and they missed their bus for whatever reason, and this has got to be in California, and something about the 10th. And so somebody asked, well, what's your home address? And the kid, he was like 10 years old in the dream, who was my high childhood friend in the dream, and he was 10 years old, and he didn't know his own address or anything like that. And so for whatever reason, that was weird. And so I was like, you don't know your own address, and you're 10 years old? So anyway, so a cop stopped by, and I had to sign something. I don't know what I had to sign in the dream. So yeah, so that was this dream. So the next dream is Strombolis and cookies, December 2010. I asked a friend if he wanted to go to a movie, and he didn't seem too interested. He was on a bus with some people and didn't seem to be doing well. Then I was at this restaurant, and my youngest brother was there, and this lady was there and came in and to see how I was doing. She was spiritual, long reddish hair, and then I connected with my youngest brother and went to talk, her, and then she and my youngest brother connected and went to go talk in the car about her spiritual abilities. I didn't want them doing that at restaurant where I was working. He left, and she helped with the Strombolis. Deli counter organized and hidden beneath the food was a deposit envelope full of money. This was the second time this happened with an employee that was working there but wasn't present at the time. This black manager came in and because of this, moved me from working at the counter to making cookies and other things which I was looking forward to assign cookies. Smithbro. Okay, so I asked one of my friends, if he wanted to go to the movies, and he's like, no, I don't want to. He didn't seem like he was doing well. So then I was working at that same restaurant, the bakery retail entry, with the same lady. It's the same lady with reddish hair, shrinky hair. And so my youngest brother came in, and they got to talking, and so in the dream, and so they went to go talk in his car, my brother's car, and they just, it wasn't really appropriate. Some people are kind of offended by that, so they went to go talk in his car about their spiritual abilities or whatever. And so then when she came back, she helped me with the Strombolis. So something was hidden beneath the food, was a deposit of money. And so I'm not for sure what this is about, but remember I was saying how my manager was supposed to be there in the dream, and then in real life he wasn't. So something about some money that this happened. Now this is the second time this happened in the dream, I guess, that there was a deposit of money that was, hidden beneath the food was a deposit envelope full of money. So So whatever, then I was moved to making cookies and other things, which I looked forward to doing. So, yeah, so I don't know. It doesn't say that the envelope, that it was stolen, but it just says like that there was something about some money, a deposit envelope full of money, and that's the second time that this happened where there was an employee that wasn't there. Wasn't It happened, but he was in prison at the time. Oh, hanging by a cord, December 2010. I was afraid. I was hanging on to these really long cords. I was thrown over a bridge with me still hanging on them. I saw Washington's Mount Rainier in the background. There were cloth strings that were cut shorter, so then I felt safe. Yeah, so I remember in this dream that it was like I was almost like bungee jumping. And so when I was thrown off this bridge, the bridge was in the Midwest, but then when I was thrown off, I saw Mount Rainier in the background. So that was weird. And so something was cut shorter, so then I felt safe. So something was cut short, which I don't know what that was. Apartment, December 2010. They lied. Then I was shown my friend and his girlfriend. I was at their place. I was telling them about housing. Then I was at my older brother's house, and I can't remember what exactly he said, but he said something about souls. Later, the word souls was mentioned in Las Vegas hostel in real life after a dream. Anyway, I had my own place. My older brother mentioned something about not having enough to pay for a place, and I didn't want landlord to know. I mentioned a roommate. I was supposed to go on and sign a lease, papers on the first, but I don't know if I did that. Office didn't seem too worried about it. Okay, so this might be tied into the last dream too. Hanging by a cord, something was cut short. Maybe I was supposed to move. But anyway, so this apartment, then I was briefly, this is in December in the dream, at my friend's and his girlfriend's, and then I was telling about what was going on with the situation with housing, which I don't remember, but what I said exactly. And then I remember I was at my brother's house, and he said something about souls, and I remember seeing something about Las Vegas later in real life or something. Anyway, so I had my own place, and I didn't want the landlord, and this is the same landlord that I mentioned before, that I didn't have enough to pay for my place. So, which didn't happen in real life. When I moved in, I paid, whatever I paid. But, so something about a roommate, and then I remember that I had to go sign a lease or whatever, and he wasn't really worried about it. Yeah, so I don't know. That's the end of that dream. Things to come, December 2010. I was with my friend, and he was telling me things to come. He told me that I was at this guy's house, and it was hidden. He was helping me with little things. I thought I'd be helping him, but he was helping me. There was a bunch of houses, and there was a house that on first level people partied and had a band, and a house was supposed to be there. So a couple of people, including me, asked them to leave. I asked someone, isn't it illegal for them to be there? I told them the whole floor should be level, party, and move on to second level. Okay, so there was some guy that was helping me who I think it was the same name, because I think this dream took place in Washington. And this place that they're talking about, I did eventually end up living there, because I did end up living across the street from a bar that would be, it wasn't really noisy, but it'd be noisy. You hear bar music or whatever. 1 o'clock, until like 1 o'clock, sometimes or whatever on the weekends. So there was something that was hidden. I have a lot of these dreams. There's quite a few of them that something is hidden. A hidden ball, which I thought was a pull-up, hidden, and sometimes I don't a good part of the times I never figure out what is hidden in the dream or in real life. So anyway, so yeah, so like the bar was on first level. So they were saying I think that something was illegal, like I wasn't supposed to be there, or something was going on. So this guy who was helping me, who had the same name as my friend, were saying, okay, well, you should move her to a different floor. So there was something illegal about me being there, or something illegal going on. Something was hidden, right? Well, I don't know what the heck that was. So I think that was what I made of the dream. And this is December, and I did end up at this one place. It was later. It was years later, and it wasn't December. But anyway, all over the place, there was a couple of lesbian women. One was that blonde girl from the movie The Smithereens. So there were a couple of other lesbians there I think may have liked me. Then I was in this water, this moving slowly and tiredly. This thing, if to it was like a long trench vine things outside my door here, but I was in water trying to untangle and get out of it, which I eventually did. It was like swampy. I was at some hotel and got a check for $345 and $1.15 and went to the bank. I am not for sure where I was at, not in my place here. I went across the street to a fast food place. Then my mom was on a couch in a dark living room. I could only see the back of her, and she was singing at a church psalms for some reason. I hugged her and started crying. I told her that I missed her so much. She didn't move. I was at Spokane briefly for a second. Then there was a bunch of teenagers, early 20s, religious Christmas, and we were singing back and forth to each other. I was accepted into the group and sang "The Lord Has Revealed." I was walking on the strip in Vegas, and there was men setting up carnival things. Okay. So, yeah, so there's different things with this dream. I remember in the dream that I was like physically all over the place. And I think that this was for an apartment with these lesbians. I think a lot of lesbians worked at this one place, this one apartment, or this one management in Washington. I never ended up like living there actually, but I remember that I think that's what I thought. And then, and I'm straight, but I meant if you're a lesbian or whatever you are, then so I remember that. Okay, so, and this part is strange because I remember being underwater, and this was in Florida. That I was underwater, and I was moving slowly, and I just couldn't get out. I was tangled up in this, all these vines or whatever that was underwater, and I just could not get untangled, and I did get untangled eventually. And so that was Florida, and then it switched back to these until this management situation in Washington for the building. And so I ended up, it sounds like I moved in, which didn't happen in real life, even though it could have, I don't know. But anyway, like years later. But anyway, so I remember that I went across the street, there was a McDonald's, and I went across the street. I had to pay them $345, and the $1.15 I think was a money order because I didn't write a check or whatever. But going across the street, there was like a McDonald's kind of close to where I was staying. I think I was staying at a hotel for a day or two, whatever. Okay, so then it switched again, and so then my mom was in front of me, and it was a dark room, and she was sitting on the couch by herself, and she was singing back. She was singing. I couldn't see her face, but I could, like, the back of her head. And she was singing. And for some reason, I hugged her. Well, not for some reason, but I hugged her, and I started crying, told her that I missed her. And then... Oh, so I think it was, like in the dream, it was kind of like a mother figure. And so there were some teenagers who, in the dream, who I think were in Las Vegas. And I think that it was my mom, but it was also like a mother figure. And we were singing, we were communicating back and forth, back and forth. And that we were, um, I was accepted into the group of these 20-year-olds religious group. Um, and so my mom sang, my mom who's passed away, the Lord has revealed. I was walking on the strip in Vegas. They were men setting up. There was something that was being set up. So I have never actually lived in Vegas. I did end up in another bigger city in Nevada, but that didn't happen. Um, anyway, so the next dream is titled "Oh Friend of Mine," and this is in January. Some woman, whose name was whatever, a friend of mine, was acting like my friend in Minneapolis and was happy to see me and gave me a hug. She said, "You are having financial problems." Then there was a slot machine with bus cards in different prices, 120, 22, 55. She didn't want to put $55 for bus card in there. $120 bill received in October, $22 a day, or of account, $55 current bill. Okay, so my friend in real life came up to me, and she was acting like my friend. She was my friend, but she was kind of just acting, and then saying, and she gave me a hug and said, "You're having financial problems." Um, and I just remember buying, there was a bus card that I wanted to buy, and I didn't want to buy the higher one for whatever reason. And the thing that was odd about it, it was like a slot, okay, like it was one of those, like you were buying cigarettes. It was like a something like that. Like you pulled it, like you don't really see those anymore. But instead of cigarettes, they give out bus cards. So I couldn't afford it. So she's like, "Well, the higher one," and because I had all these bills, that sounds like, so she's like, "Well, you're having financial problems." And I was like, "Yeah." So that's the end of that dream. So thank you, and thanks for watching.